Okay, good day to each and everyone. Sagutan lang po natin yung sample problem na ito. Yung sa seatwork ninyo or quiz, something like that. No? This will serve as a supplementary information all about the normal stress. So let's try to answer po yung normal stresses na na-generate dito kay bronze, dito kay aluminum, and then dito naman kay steel, having 400 millimeters square for the bronze. We have 600 square millimeters for the aluminum. It corresponds to the cross-sectional area. And we have 300 square millimeters for the steel. So we have 2P here that is acting on this direction. Now it goes to the right. And then we have 4P going to the left. And then we have P here going to the left. And last but not the least, for the steel, we have 3P. And don't forget that P is equals to 10,000 newtons or 10 kilonewtons. What we're going to do here is to solve for the normal stress generated inside this section for the bronze, for the aluminum, and of course for the steel. So by doing that, we need to cut each section so that we can solve for the internal forces inside each section. So let's say this is A, and this is B, and this is C. Now goes like that. So let's take the left side of each section. Let's say this is for bronze, goes like this. Let's draw the free body diagram. And this is the cut area, it's like this. And we have here a 2P going to the right direction. So that's 2P. So what we're going to do here is to apply the laws of equilibrium. Make sure that our structure is in a static state. So 2P is going to the right. So it's common sense that there should be an opposing force that is opposing 2P. Diba? So by doing that, we need to assume that the opposing force of this 2P is going to the left. Because there's no force acting or opposing this 2P. So that's why we need to direct this opposing force going to the left direction. So this is P sub BR because we are at the bronze section. So applying the laws of equilibrium, positive going to the right. It depends on you. If positive going to the left, that's not an issue. Depends on where you are comfortable. So applying this one, summation of forces along the x-axis is equals to 0. So is equals to 2P is going to the right, so that's positive. And then BR is going to the left, so that should be negative. P sub BR. Then isolating P sub BR because this is the information and force that we need. So P sub BR is equals to 2P. So initially, what we assumed is its compression. The direction the force is going is acting in a compressive state in the cross-sectional area of section of the bronze. So we have here a positive value for the internal force at bronze, means to say that our initial assumption is correct. So this is in compression because it's positive. Kita nyo naman siguro. Then let's go with the aluminum section. So we have here, tama na po yan. So let's go with the aluminum section. We just need to draw the free body diagram again. Like this. Just simple. You have here, going to the right, 2P again. And next is we have 4P. Let's take into account the left side of the section. So going at this direction, so this is 4P. And of course, this is the cut. And the problem here is what would be our initial assumption for the opposing force to this 2P and 4P. So saan ba dapat yung direction ng ating opposing force? So it's common sense that 4P is much greater than 2P going to the left. And then 2P is slightly resisting this 4P going to the right. Means to say if we want to achieve equilibrium, we must direct our opposing force here at the aluminum section going to the right section, going to the right direction, because 4P is greater than 2P. And then as much as possible, all of the forces must be equals to 0 so that our structure is static. Kaya nga summation of forces equals to 0. So this should be P sub aluminum. Diba? P sub aluminum na po yan. So applying again the laws of statics, the laws of equilibrium, positive going to the right. So F sub x is equals to 0. So 2P is positive, 4P is negative, then P sub AL is positive. So we need P sub AL, so we need to transpose 2P and 4P to the left and rearrange the terms. So that should be P sub AL is equals to 4P minus 2P. Nakuha na po natin yung kanyang mathematical algebraic orientation. So let's solve. P sub AL is equals to basically 2P. And our initial assumption is the internal force P sub AL is in tension, and then we have a positive answer for solving P sub AL. So means to say that our initial assumption that is P sub AL is tension is correct. So this should be in, that should be in tension. Okay. So let's move on dito sa pangatlong section for the steel. We don't need to necessarily solve using starting here from bronze to aluminum all the way to steel. We can just simply use the right section so that it would be much easier for us to solve, because if we are going to take into consideration the left side of steel, then we need to include bronze and aluminum again. For us to somewhat solve this in the easy way, we just need to use the right section of this structure. So by using the right section, this is the cut. And then we have here 3P going to the right, 3P, and then this is the cut. So 3P is going to the right, so it's obvious that the opposing force should be going to the opposite direction, diba? So it goes like this. And this one is for P sub ST. Okay, so solving for the internal force P sub ST, applying the laws of equilibrium again. Going to the right is positive summation of forces along the x-axis is equals to 0. So that should be equals to negative P sub ST plus 3P. Solving for P sub ST, that should be 3P. And then the initial assumption is that P sub ST, or the internal force acting inside section of the steel, is tension. And then we have here a positive answer, means to say that our initial assumption, tension, is correct. Okay, so we have here now the internal force acting inside each section. So meron tayong 2P for the bronze, 2P again for the aluminum, and 3P for the steel. And then our goal here is to solve for the internal stresses dito sa loob, axial stress. So yung kailangan natin gawin dyan is to look for the cross-sectional area, which is madali lang naman po. It just needs a bit of conversion. Convert lang po niya natin, and then let's try to solve. Okay, so ito po yung para sa internal forces.